Bueno, okay. So I have the honor by following this unique uh, stage with amazing music, and thanks Mila Negra for being us with here to present an amazing woman that we met early when we started the LATAM Town Hall. She was the kind of the first or the second guest that we have, and she's an amazing leader, amazing, powerful. She's very disruptive in his way, in her way to do things. I really admire her for what she's doing, what she's going to do, and that's why we kind of asked her if she want to be part of this special edition of this LATAM Town Hall, and luckily she said yes out of her very busy agenda. So we are so lucky to have her here. She is, of course, Alexandra, which is known in the digital world as Ali Illustrated. She's the founder of Cardano Woman, which is a space for women. She will probably talk more about that. I don't want to step onto that presentation. She's also into the NFT space. She's helping a lot of people to mint NFTs in Cardano, and she's also promoting that, and that is creating an amazing thriving community around Cardano because of the power the NFTs are having, and the hype and value for artists and other stuff to be. Don't do that. This is all reality. This is all reality. Don't worry. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Alexandra, Ali Illustrated. Thanks for being here. Welcome to this space. The floor is yours.
Oh my goodness, how can I follow up with such a wonderful introduction to obviously the community here. It's nice to be back. Again, as mentioned, yes, I tend to be all over the place, and I don't feel like I get enough done during the day because I feel like there's not enough hours to spread with all of you, especially when, you know, I want to be Pinky in the Brain, but more so brain and taking over the world. Pero where do I begin? Yo soy Alexandra. Yo soy, I guess, a big part of the community when I first came in. Pero nací de Panamá, pero yo vivo aquí en los Estados Unidos, more specifically in Seattle. And then I travel all over the place trying to meet everyone and let people know about the opportunity that I found here with Cardano. And when I also came into this space, gosh, it's my 1-year anniversary coming up, being in Cardano. But, you know, I started, sorry, it's English-Spanglish. La única cosa es, me puede hablar, pero un poquito lento, y también me puede comprender más que me puede hablar, pero if you don't use it, you lose it. So I have a little bit of both. You get to enjoy my Spanglish.
So the people in the chat are saying that they can understand you, but don't go too fast.
Perfect.
Y hablas muy bien.
Ay, gracias. I can thank my mom for that one, especially lately. I have to be back in gear because my mom has a nonprofit organization that requires me to do a lot of editing and a lot of practice on my Spanish. But I digress. When I came into this space, there was this popular social media thing called Women Crush Wednesday. And so I thought it'd be something fun to try and entertain in the Cardano community, because I thought that, you know, with social media, that there's got to be plenty of people in this space. And a lot of people must know about this more than I do. But I was a little devastated because when I hosted something like that, there was only 5 women repeated over and over and over again. And I wasn't happy with that being the only answer. You know, I think it was mentioned earlier, you know, there was like 4% invested in things, and the numbers definitely gone up, and I'm very, very happy of that. It's not solely my efforts, but I think people have seen me echo this time and time again, that we're in a new plane, kind of like a new America, but we don't have to pillage everyone to be a part of this new land and this new frontier. We can come in with the new rules that we've learned from our mistakes in the real world and implement them, so that way we can move forward as a better community. And that's something that I even see in Cardano motto, represent that, together we will make things better. And so I look forward to that. And with that, you need both sides. I think it's 50% men, 50% women in this world. There's probably, a different percentage than that. But at the end of the day, together we make things more beautiful. And so I've made it a mission. It started off as a Twitter space thing that I thought would be fun, to more of something more passionate, more driven. And I think the dream grows more and more every day as I'm involved in the community and meeting people, and learning ideas from others. Some things that when mentioned earlier, being involved in the NFTs, the beauty of NFTs is the advancements of technology that's available. It's fascinating, and it gives so much opportunity. But some of the things that I reflected on my times going back to Panama, I go visit maybe every 3 years. And something that for me that resonated with me a lot is my culture. And when I go back, I feel a little devastated, because I've lived here for most of my life. And like I joke, I tend to have like a diminished vocabulary than everyone else, because I've lived in the US for most of my life. And I feel like sometimes it would be better if I had spent more time over there and then try to learn English. But I think there's no time than now. But I found beauty in the culture and the art forms, such as pollera, which is something that I'm very, very proud of my mom bringing to my attention, and bringing to not only just awareness, but just for me to be integrated with, to practice it, to carry it on as like a legacy. It's more fascinating and more beautiful to me than carrying my last name, because it's an art form that's slowly but surely dying. And when I think of that and the advancements of technology, I see that being equal around the world. More and more of the new generation tends to gravitate more towards the technology, and we tend to forget where we come from. And so how can we use the blockchain to do such things as preserve it? And that's where I thought NFTs would be a great part. And that's where I thought it was also imperative to bring the message of the art form and NFTs, but also how I can expand it to represent women all over the world. We're not just one woman. We're not just one, image. I look up to Maria Carmo, who's been a big, huge role model of mine for the LATAM community as well. And I look up to, Shweta, the first stake pool operator, and where she comes from, and Bullish Dumpling, where she comes from and what she represents, and how we can integrate that multifacetedness of women, but also keep it inclusive to everyone. Because again, when the message was earlier, we are going to make it, we all are going to make it, we need to continue that with all forms as possible. It's a part of education, it's a part of bringing it to awareness, and not only talking the talk, but walking the walk, I think is the biggest thing. If you are saying one thing and you want to do one thing, you have to follow up with the actions behind it to make it happen. So I could go on for hours, and I don't want to take up too much of the time, because I do know that there's more participants to this town hall, so I can save anything else for questions or comments or anything. But yeah, that's been my passions, and I just really, really enjoy being a part of the LATAM community. When you reach out, and I may get a little scared because I need to take like a good hour to go to Google Translate and make sure I don't mess up anything. But I'm really, really excited and really happy to help in any way I can, you know, be the middleman between the LATAM community and the American community, I guess. That's me.
That will be awesome. And we take your word for granted because you're already doing that. So community, here's Ali for you. What you want to ask her? Questions, things you want to know.
You know what I like about what you said? I think it was very inspiring, is the fact that you acknowledge, I mean, más bien en español mejor. Lo que más me gusta de lo que tú dijiste ahora es que reconociste que tenías una historia y que de pronto no la aprovechaste en un momento, pero que eso es pasado y que ahora en adelante vas a estar y ya estás trabajando en eso. Cuéntanos qué tanto español estás hablando, qué tanto estás practicando. Trata de decirlo en español.
In Spanish, please.
Más en español. Yes, I need to practice more. And that's why I need to be here.
Right. How much have you practiced in the language? Family and, friends and work?
Bueno, aquí en los Estados Unidos solamente es mi mamá y yo, pero también, ¿qué falta? Mi mamá tenemos un organization que se llama Panama Folklore y eso tenemos un mission para represent, the Panamanian community and promote the culture around. And we've been invited to New York. We've been invited to do a number of things of educating people about our culture, but at the same time, we do folkloric ballet and we do performance, típico, the famous kind of dances from all provinces and everything. And so I have my number of polleras. Not all of them are the genuine one. I only have one of those, and I treasure it like no tomorrow, because those things just, again, like I said, it's a dying art form. And they cost as much as a US car. So I definitely resonate with a lot of people when they're passing it on as a legacy. And so if I was able to duplicate myself, I'd be able to participate more in those environments. I've also been honored with the opportunity to represent my mom's organization through a New York organization que se llama, so there's Panama Folklore, and then I'm gonna forget the other one because I'm on the spot.
Welcome.
But it's a New York group, and I've been very appreciative of them to have them. So in the Latin community, we have Uptown Queen and Downtown Queen. So they had me represent as Queen, Reina, de las Molas Association in New York. And I got the chance to, represent Panama and my mom's organization and everything in between, in some highlight opportunities to speak. But of course, it takes me like a good month to practice my speech before I go through. And so, yeah, no, it's been a wonderful journey. And I think I was joking earlier about the food, but if I go back to Panama, like I did recently, I think I would pick it up a lot more, because I think that was one of the things that I really loved about what my mom did when I went back for my Sweet 15. As we landed at the airport, she told me, I know you understand because you listen to all my gossip and you respond in English. So what you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to learn how to respond in Spanish, and I'm not going to be the one translating for you. So my Sweet 15 was quite entertaining, as I had to sit there and wait and then try to respond. And then I slowly picked it up. But it's by forcing myself to be in that environment forces me to actually practice more. And unfortunately, I don't feel like I'm engaged enough with the Latin community, because I also got hired on by JPEG Store. So I am in a lot of things there. And of course, Cardano Women, trying to interact with a lot of people at conventions and everything, majority of the people who I interact with have been American. So I would love to see more representation of that as we grow.
Yo tengo una pregunta, pero me gustaría que la comunidad haga. A ver, lo repito en español por si alguien por ahí no lo escuchó. Preguntas que quieran hacerle a Ali, las pueden hacer en español, no hay ningún problema. Nosotros lo traducimos. Dale, Jaime.
Hay dos preguntas que están haciendo en el chat. Una la está haciendo Jennifer y otra la está haciendo Mirla Negra. Me
Ok.
parece importante que hacérselas
Léelas.
a Ali.
No las veo acá,
Ok.
dale, lea.
Okay, Jennifer, Ali, Jennifer in the chat is asking you, what are your thoughts of the future of CSTs?
They have a lot of potential. I mean, as we had the beautiful opportunity earlier to listen to Grammy, nominated musicians, we can, use that capability to, well, how I've seen in Hollywood is no one actually owns their things. So thankfully to the blockchain, you can own your music and do with it as you please. So I look forward to that. My visions for Cardano women in regards to NFTs, for example, was same thing that I love about art. I love fashion. I've loved fashion for the longest time. And I used to draw actually, but when I was drawing, my mom, when coming to the US, had a hard time in expressing that, there's a good thing to go after your dreams, but you have to be realistic. So she would tell me in fashion, one day you're in and next day you're out. So it's great that I draw, but I probably should focus on something that would get me further ahead in life. So I kind of stopped drawing and went, the route of whatever I did. I served in the military, I worked in science stuff, and I worked in retail, I worked in a lot of things. But when I come back to it, I really loved the art forms of doing a fashion sketch of a woman. And so bringing that into play and using that to display every, I guess how I put it was, the first collection that I will release is called Pangea, because I think that it was very important that back in the day, we didn't have any borders. We were all connected as one continent. And I think we can definitely go back to that. But I want to have each woman of each continent representing, so in an art form of a fashion sketch, displaying, how she represents that country, whether it's, North America, South America, and everything. I wanted to do 5 because that's what my mom taught me, five continents, but, Americans think that there's 7. And so then I want to break that collection down over the 3,000 to 5,000 different countries and cities and provinces to represent each woman, because I think, not to be isolated with Panama, but from what I've taken away from lessons there is that each province, for example, with a pollera, each pollera looks different to represent each province. So I want to do the same thing for each country, like in Africa, do, Egypt, and do South Africa and Nambia and a variety of these things. But I think also with those fashion sketches, if we can push, like in Twitter, to have our profile pictures verified, the opportunities that a woman can have to represent herself, because I think that's one of the other things that hold women back from joining into this.
Recién estoy saliendo del museo, mamá, te estoy yendo para allá.
Someone not mute. No
So security, I've encountered a lot of women who don't want to put up their pictures because of whatever instances that they've run into, whether it's in real life or the dangers that the internet poses. Let's be honest, that it is there. So if I can have something that represents who they are, where they're from, without having to disclose names or anything like that, they can do that and represent proudly. Because I know that if I see anything Panamanian, I go gaga and spend any money I can to go over it, because I think I'm very proud of where I'm from, even though I live here in the US, and I want to continue to represent that. And then it can give education to everyone else, a little bit more insight into each culture. like the geisha community, because of COVID, unfortunately, has been diminishing away because, well, one, of the disease, and two, the generation just has seen no reason to carry it on in some ways. And so that was also triggered by listening to, gotta love the internet, and listening to people, 2 languages a day, every day die out. So how can we save that and incorporate by going around the world, if I can, it's a pretty big mission, to record each person's story in their native tongue, to pair up with that artwork and give that education and preserve it before it's entirely gone. But it's not just for the women, because I do have dreams to incorporate the men as well, and showcasing the beauty of culture, of people, and the power we have from that. So that's just some things that I look forward to.
Awesome. I do have some questions more, and I bet that the community will start asking questions, but we have another guest now, and I want to be respectful on that. I really appreciate what you expressed, and I think it's an amazing message that you are giving here, and we will very much like that you stay for the after town hall for an open conversation, so we can move on to more a kind of a conversation with the community around the topics that gathers us here, around women in technology, women in Cardano, and women in the community as well. So thanks for that, Ali, and again, all our heart is with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So our next guest is Mie Tran. I don't know, Mie, if we were discussing about how to pronounce your name. Of course, this is not the native tongue, but is Mie or Mie?
Yeah, so basically my name is Me. Yeah, so just
Mie. Perfect.
yes.
So it's Mie Tran, and she's from Vietnam. She's also a very young woman as Ali, and she's all over the place in Catalyst, which is the community part